Hey guys, welcome to another video this week. This is actually the fourth part in a 5-part series that we're doing here for people just getting into cryptocurrency for the first time. And today we're looking at how Bitcoin is mined. And more specifically, really, how you can actually make some money or make some Bitcoin through mining. And the example that we're going to be looking at today is actually how you can make $300 per month. In fact, we're actually going to be sharing with you step by step exactly what you're going to need to do to make £300 or dollars per month through mining using a very simple mining rig just like this that you can use at home, except this one here that you see only has one graphics card left on it. What you'll need is 6 of these graphics cards right here. Without any further ado, let's go and get straight into it. Alright, so in very simple terms, what happens every single time you send a Bitcoin transaction is your transaction is sent into the transaction pool. And it's this pool of transactions where each individual Bitcoin miner out there in the world, which there's thousands of these miners, they will take a whole bunch of these transactions, box them up into what's known as a block, and then they'll go about trying to solve this very complex calculation using a preset algorithm. And the very first of these computers to actually solve that problem will win the mining rewards, which is for something like Bitcoin quite a substantial amount, which is why there's so much competition in the network trying to win those blocks. With Bitcoin, those blocks are aimed at running about every 10 minutes. So only 144 blocks can get mined in a day, and it's only the transactions which are in that block, the block that actually wins and gets added to the transaction, the blockchain, sorry, only those transactions actually get added in that 10 minutes. All the rest get dumped back in the pool, and then they go about trying to solve another one, and this is why Bitcoin takes so long. So there's only one block added every single 10 minutes, and if your transaction isn't in that one, then you've got to wait 20 minutes, and if it's not in that, you'll have to wait 30 minutes until eventually your transaction gets added into the blockchain, and then more blocks get added in behind it. And I believe with Bitcoin, mostly with Binance and other exchanges, they're going to look for 2 confirmations deep into the blockchain. So just getting added to the blockchain isn't enough. You need to be confirmed with more blocks getting added in behind so that they know that absolutely that transaction is 100% gone through before they actually clear your funds and allow you to spend it. Briefly, that's how Bitcoin mining works and how any sort of proof of work algorithm coin out there. But now let's get into something a bit more interesting and how you can actually start mining and make yourself some Bitcoin through mining yourself. Nice and easy from home with nothing more than a very simple GPU computer that you can build and put together yourself. So what you're going to need is some GPUs. The most common of which used for mining is either going to be AMD or NVIDIA. And here we're going to be looking at 2 which are very not similarly priced. So this is the AMD Vega 64, pretty much as good as it gets for AMD. And we should compare it with this. This is the Zotac NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1070, and just see how they compare and how much money you can make. Bearing in mind that this 1070 is almost half the price of the Vega 64. You'll need to come to this site here. This is called whattomine.com. And up here, I've decided to go for a 6 GPU rig, which is pretty good. You normally find between about 6 to 8 is the sweet spot when building your mining rig. So if we've got 6 of these Vega 64s, now these are £400 each. And down here we have cost. So this is the cost of the electricity. Here in the UK, electric is very expensive. So for me, it costs about 15 pence, which in dollar terms is about 20 cents. So here, obviously, $0.2, that's 20 cents. And then we come over, hit calculator, and it should tell us what our profit would be mining. So here we can see Monero comes out as the most profitable coin. and we'd be getting a revenue of $6.55. However, once we've taken out the cost of the electric, we're actually making $1.27 minus per day, so minus $1.27. So not too profitable there with the Vegas 64s. As expensive as they are, they're just not good enough for us to actually make a profit. So let's go and take a look now at the NVIDIA and see what they can offer. So just check that. So now we've got 6 1070s instead, and hit calculate. Still we've got 20 cents per kilowatt hour, and scroll down, and now we can see that Bitcoin Z is top of the list, so that's going to make us $4.57. However, that is 82 cents of profit in there, which isn't too bad. It's pretty good. Obviously, it's top of the list. But if you have a look down, we can see this one here is actually 90 cents profit, so a bit more profitable from Nicehash. Now, if I'm going to mine Bitcoin Z, then what I'm going to be doing is joining a Bitcoin Z mining pool, and I'm going to make Bitcoin Z. Then what I've got to do is take that Bitcoin Z, take it to an exchange, change it into Bitcoin, which is really your end goal, is to make Bitcoin. So mining these smaller altcoins does increase that level of having to move money around and send it about and hope you're going to get a decent exchange fee and all this. If you're doing Nicehash, then the Nicehash software will mine anything it likes, and you just get paid out in Bitcoin. So a lot of people go for that. In fact, if we have a look at the Nicehash website, and here we go, this is about Nicehash. You can see there's 298,000 miners around the world which actually use Nicehash to generate Bitcoin, rather than making other alts and then having to exchange it themselves. And it's a bit more complicated. Nicehash does make it very simple for people getting started. So as a seller is what you're going to be doing, and you want to earn money with your CPU or GPU. So really just your GPU is what's going to make the money. Or if you've got an ASIC miner, then you're certainly doing better than me, or a big rig or farm. You've got different things there. So CPU miner, it's going to give you the option to download some software, and this software will allow Nicehash to mine any coin that it's getting paid to mine, and then you earn the Bitcoin from that. One drawback to this though is that whereas the other one you'll basically earn that Bitcoin Z or whatever it is, and that gets put straight into your wallet and you can spend it and exchange it straight away. With Nicehash, they don't actually pay you out until you've earned, if you go down there, you've got payouts from 0.001 Bitcoin. So although it says that they'll pay out once per day, you have to have at least 0.001 whatever Bitcoin, okay? So if you have only one computer or just a couple of GPUs running, it could be a very long time until you actually get paid out. So obviously, just bear that in mind. Okay, so we now know what we're looking to do is mine using the Nicehash mining software, and we want to be getting hold of 6 GTX 1070 mining cards to do that. But that isn't all we need. Obviously, we need to build an entire mining rig for those GPUs to run on. So how much is all this going to cost? What is it going to cost you to actually build your own mining rig and get started? So in these calculations here, we have, of course, a motherboard. You're going to need a motherboard. You're going to need 2 PSUs, because you're not going to be able to run all of those mining GPUs straight from just one power unit. You're going to need at least 2 to power all 6. And you're going to need a processor. Do bear in mind the processor has to be the same as the motherboard. So if the motherboard takes an AMD processor, make sure to get a AMD processor. If you're going to use an Intel CPU, then make sure that the motherboard is also an Intel motherboard. Otherwise, it's just not going to work, okay? You should also need some thermal paste to stick the fan that goes on the CPU to the CPU for the heat exchange. Otherwise, your computer is going to keep shutting off. So make sure you buy yourself some thermal paste. and you're going to need to run at least 8 gigs of RAM. Now I suggest you can forget Windows and just try using Linux instead. It kind of runs the software a lot better, a lot cleaner, doesn't use up so many resources like Windows, and because you're not using it as a PC, you're just using it for the purpose of mining, then Linux is a lot easier to use and a lot more lightweight, doesn't need as much memory. So definitely Linux, and you can put that onto an SSD very easily. And of course we've got GPUs. This is the big cost, so we've got our 6 1070s there coming to just 1,300, a lot cheaper than they were last year when Bitcoin was up at 20 grand. Okay, so they come down a lot. I think they were about $450 then, obviously, or £450, sorry. Now they're just around £200, so they've lost a lot in value, which is great for getting into mining right now. You need the PCIe risers. This is to connect the GPUs to the motherboard, and I'd also suggest now that you actually get an SSD hard drive. So there's no need to use the old style hard drives these days. They only last about 10 years. SSDs, I should imagine, should last longer. And also there's a lot of people out there with mining videos from, you know, a few years ago where they were using little memory sticks, little flash drives to run Linux. And that's a pretty good idea, but it's really slow. So if you're running the operating system through a USB stick, it's going to be really slow to actually, not very responsive. So if you actually run it through a proper hard drive attached to the machine, and because they're so cheap now, the SSDs, you can get a 120 gig SSD, which is obviously much better than a 30 gig hard drive memory stick, and it's just £20, right? Go onto Amazon, they're very cheap now, so I'd suggest definitely get one of those. And you're going to need an Ethernet cable to connect to the internet, or some sort of like Wi-Fi dongle. If you've got lots of kids running around in your house everywhere, you probably don't want Ethernet leads going up and down the corridors, so a Wi-Fi dongle could be better. However, bear in mind it's probably going to knock off the internet and not run quite as well as it would if it was like hardwired in. So again, some decisions there for yourself. Just like this one here, I have the dummy HDMI. So your motherboard isn't going to work unless it has a monitor plugged into it. So what you can get is a little dummy HDMI, just like this one here on the screen, the little silver thing you see there plugged into the HDMI port. That is a dummy one. It just makes the computer think that there's a monitor attached, and then you can connect through the internet, through your little network in your house, through your laptop or PC, whatever else you've got, and you can use that computer. But you need to download some other software to be able to do that. But it's free. It's free and very easy to set up. And you'll also need a power button for switching on and off the mining rig. Now, just one thing before we continue. Obviously, that sounds like a lot of stuff, and it does sound maybe a bit complex and a bit complicated. I'll put a video up here which goes back to where I made my very first mining rig for the first time. It's actually really simple. So you can order all that stuff from Amazon and you can put it together. It's like putting together a kid's Lego set. It's so simple and so obvious once you've actually got it all in front of you. So don't worry too much about that. It's very easy. It's a bit more complicated installing all of the software and the mining software, but if you're using Nicehash, that's not going to be a problem either. Okay, so by the time you've factored in all of the costs there, you're looking at an outlay of £1,789 just to get yourself up and running, to get started. And how much were you making from Nicehash? That's right, 90 cents. So you're only going to be making 90 cents from Nicehash. So how long is it going to take for you to actually make a return on your investment? Well, right here you can see that 90 pence per day would have you break even in 1,988 days. That's 5.4 years. Now, I don't know about you, but I really don't think those GPUs going 24/7, you know, 7 days a week, going like the clappers, doing all that algorithmic stuff, and they really do. You're going to hammer these GPUs. I'm not sure they're going to last for 5 years anyway. But here's the thing with mining now. With Bitcoin hasn't always been the same price for the last 5 years. I mean, what was Bitcoin 5 years ago? probably about $300 to $500 for a Bitcoin. Now you're talking $8,000 plus for a Bitcoin. So where's Bitcoin going to be like in another 5 years, or maybe just 3 years? We might be looking at $100,000 Bitcoin. So you're not really mining for today. As long as it covers the electricity costs as you're doing it, whatever profit you've made, you just hang on to that money and then you cash it in once Bitcoin gets to 100,000 or whatever. So how would those figures stack up? Just how long would you need to mine that Bitcoin through Nicehash today? Obviously still covering the electric costs, but how long would it be until you start making profit? Well, as we see right here, if Bitcoin goes to 100,000, then that would mean that you would have had to have been mining previously for 169 days, which is about 6 months, about half a year. And that means that your 90 pence today would have actually equaled out to be about $10.58 per day instead. So you're not mining for profit today. You just got to look ahead to the future and have an idea that you're just going to keep mining as long as it's covering the electric, and just keep all of that profit until a time comes where you can actually take those profits and get something substantial. However, let's be honest, it's not really that substantial for, you know, having those running in your house 24/7, going like the clappers, and just generating a lot of noise. Not the type of thing that everybody is going to want in their home. But if you are that way inclined, then mining, you know, it can be profitable. But for myself, I was mining through a lot of last year, and I've got to tell you, it was a bit of hassle keeping the mining rigs up and running all the time. And for the amount of money that you put in, now some people will tell you that you can sell the GPUs and you can sell the hardware afterwards, but let's be honest guys, are you going to buy a computer that was available come out 5 years ago? Absolutely not, because technology is constantly updating all of the time. So a GPU and a CPU from today is going to be totally outdated in a couple of years. So forget really being able to recoup your money selling any of this stuff. You might get a little bit back, but nothing substantial. Plus, for mining for 6 months, half a year, all that you're getting back is you're just breaking even at that point. You've got to mine for an entire year just to make the 1,789 profit on top of that and double your money. So a whole year's worth of mining, that is quite an undertaking for sure. Not something I would do myself. In fact, after mining for months and months last year, I eventually found a far better way to make a passive income with cryptocurrency, which is what the title of next week's video is going to be, making a passive income using cryptocurrency. And it's better than mining, guys, and it doesn't have to be so expensive to get into, and just makes a lot more profit, substantially more than mining. So mining, great if you're into all that technical type stuff and you just want to help support the network and of a project you believe in. That's brilliant, you can do that and it can be profitable. But if you actually want to make some serious passive income week after week, then there's a better solution. We're going to be going into that next week, but until then, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please do give it a thumbs up, and maybe comment below if you have any questions. Now, after this course, as I said, this is just a 5-part course aimed mainly at beginners. What I'm going to be doing is looking at a different currency. And so if you've got any cryptocurrencies that you would like me to take a look at on the charts, so on the technical charts, then please do let me know in the comments below, and I shall be looking through the comments over the next couple of weeks to decide which coin to do some technical analysis on here on the channel for you guys, to give you an idea of what my thoughts are on the coins that you guys love. So right here we have Bitcoin, and a few weeks ago, maybe we was probably around this sort of region here, and I was saying what I was predicting to be happening in the market would be a sort of cup and handle pattern. So I thought it was going to go up, so great, because I did buy a lot of Bitcoin around this region down here. It then went up very, very nicely, didn't quite hit the target I thought it was going to go to, and then expecting it to come down to 4.6 before going all the way up there to just under 8,000. this is what I predicted like way back. This was back in March time this year. So you know, obviously you can't really predict the future too accurately. You just have to go with the flow. So what actually happened is it didn't quite hit there. It then just kept going up and up and up. Well, hit the target, went over 8,000, which was great. I actually sold out a lot of my Bitcoin there for about 7,800. As I believe we'd hit a sort of a top here for a while. It then came back up, formed a double top, and I thought, yeah, we're going to go down, probably hit down here just under 6,000 where I can buy back in. That'll be a really great buy position. However, things just didn't turn out that nice. Now, what you would normally like in a healthy market is to see price go up, come back down, hit the 120-day moving average here. This is this gold average line. And if you go all the way back through Bitcoin, you normally see it as we were going up previously. Get all that out of the way. You can see it coming down every few months, hitting this 120-day moving average line. It just sort of bounces up off of that as it's going up and up. And then you can see as it went to its crazy price, it just come all the way away. And it's kind of like stretching an elastic band. So the more you pull it away from that moving average, the more it's going to hurt when you let go. And what we saw here back in 2018 was it stretched all the way up $20,000, and when it eventually let go, it come all the way down to 6. It was crazy. So it didn't just hit the 120-day moving average, it moved well below and then was stuck below it for all of 2018. So getting stretched beyond where it should really go isn't a really good thing for Bitcoin at all, or for any market whatsoever. And what we've got right now is it's coming all the way up, well pulling away from this 120-day moving average. Not a great sign. But yesterday on Sunday, as I saw this wasn't a double top, which I was hoping for, which I was expecting, you know, just to hit the top here once, come back up, hit again, and then move down into this 6,000 zone. That's what I wanted to see, but that wasn't how it was turning out. It was looking more like what they call a pennant. So a pennant is like a flag in trading. So whenever you see a pattern kind of like this, it's like a little triangular shaped flag. So you've got the flag pole itself from where it broke out to the actual flag, and then this pennant formation begins to form, and then it normally goes up about the same as the flag pole distance. So with that said, what I was expecting yesterday is that we were going to break out of this pennant and move up about the same as this flagpole distance here, which would bring us to, or if I've not moved these lines all over the place, it should bring us to just under 10,000, maybe like 9,800, something like that. So I had to quickly switch all of my altcoins back into Bitcoin and a little bit of Litecoin as well, and hopefully ride this out up to somewhere just under 10,000 would be good, and then cash out, and hopefully it should come back down and retouch this 120-day moving average, because we don't want to see it getting too carried away. Otherwise, we're all going to be in a lot of trouble. So what we want is a nice, healthy bull market that will take us all the way up to maybe about 80,000 in a year or two's time. So if you do have any questions on any cryptocurrencies that you really like and you think are good to invest in, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll run through some technical analysis on it and see what it looks like. But one more question, one more thing I want you to take a look at if you're still interested in mining Bitcoin, is to check out what you would get for your money if you invested this £1,789 in Bitcoin today when Bitcoin reaches 100,000, rather than mining. So if you were going to spend that money on mining equipment and mine your way through Bitcoin and try and generate money that way, how much are you going to have after a year's worth of mining, and how much would you have if you just spent that money on Bitcoin and invested it in Bitcoin today at today's price? Which one would be better off? Okay, so if you're still interested in mining for a living, then do check that out and do find that out for yourself. That's it for me for today. Hope you've enjoyed the video, and I shall see you again soon.